All right. Shalom, 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 y'all. Shalom is Michael Israel watching Spiritual Combat. And we got a good one for you today. We're going to really be, as usual, getting down to the nitty gritty. So there's no ambiguity, no confusion. What we're talking about today is everybody wants to be spiritual until it's time to be spiritual. What do I mean by that? Well, um, something I'm always talking about here on this channel is, uh, footwork. Um, the Bible says you will know them by their fruit. The Bible also talks about worthy men are tried or tested in the furnace of adversity. Um, so in adversity, you see what you're made of. This is a very, I would say, basic concept. Bible says, prove all things, hold fast to that which is true. And inevitably, what happens is a lot of people go through the motions of being spiritual, but when, you know, a friend, like that other Bible verse that says a friend is for adversity or something like that. But that's when you know who's who and what's what, when you get in those situations where, okay, you're in the heat of the moment, the emotions are high, the passion's high, the feelings and emotions are high, and you know what the word says. You know how you need to conduct yourself. You know how what you need to do or how you need to act in this particular situation. And what are you going to do? Are you going to be given over to thoughts, feelings, emotions, or are you going to do what you know to be correct? And this is how you see where you're truly at, because how do you operate? How do you move? What do you do in the face of strong emotions? That's what it comes down to. Um, and that's going to mark your level of growth or development, is how you operate, how you act in the face of strong thoughts, feelings, and emotions. You gonna be up here for a second? Okay. But yeah, that's how that's where the rubber meets the road. That's how you differentiate the real from the fake. Um, that's how you know who you're dealing with, whether it's within, whether it's in yourself, whether you're looking at yourself, or whether it's external, when you're dealing with other people, knowing who's who and what's what. And guess what? Nobody's perfect. Everybody is falling the victim to strong thoughts, feelings, and emotions. But what it comes down to is when the pressure's on, when some type of strong temptation, some type of strong, whatever you want to call it, is at hand acting on you. What are you doing? How are you reacting? Um, a lot of people get deceived when they see. Uh, a lot of people have been deceived by religion. Many people have been led astray by people acting spiritual. And I want to emphasize on that word when I say acting spiritual. Going through what is commonly thought and believed to be spiritual among most people. where people have been kind of duped and deceived into thinking spiritual is. Because even the concept of the definition of what people have been led to believe being spiritual is, don't, when you look in the word, it don't line up. You know, I've seen plenty of people who, according to society's deceived idea of what being spiritual is, like they fulfill that. They look the part according to what we've been led to believe being spiritual is. And what we've been led to believe being spiritual is a concept that comes from Greco-Roman Catholicism. And then that mother of harlots, that church, uh, gave that concept over to its harlots, the other religions that came from it, Christianity and the offshoots of all that. So this fake concept of what being spiritual is has been like handed down and embedded in the minds of people in this society because of the influence of that church and its religions and everything. And what ends up happening is we have this false concept of what being spiritual is, and what happens, people end up being led astray. And it's like, then you come across someone or people who truly are spiritual, but to you they seem mean or something like that because you have, look, Satan has turned everything upside down and backwards. So you have a false concept of what being righteous is or what being spiritual is, you know? So getting back on topic, what is being spiritual? Being spiritual is, you know, having a righteous biblical reaction in the heat of the moment, in the way you deal with stuff, in the way you handle things. You know, the way you deal with different situations that might come up. And you know, where the difficult part comes in, where the battle is at, is where when you've been conditioned to respond a certain way in certain situations, you've been conditioned to respond a certain way. And then when you come into the realization that, hey, that wasn't the correct response, I need to respond this way. And that's that gap in between there is where, that's the battlefield right there. Oh, no beat around, but I know what y'all want is, give me some examples. It's a ton of examples. You know, diet is a good one. Diet is a perfect one to get into. You know, the information's out there. We know consuming certain things, living certain lifestyles, like living a sedentary lifestyle with no exercise, stuff like that. There's certain foods you shouldn't eat, improper foods, eating the improper foods. We know that the results that's going to have. We know it's not good for us, but we continue eating it. That's one good example. Situations, conflict. Conflict resolution, resolving conflict, going to your brother when there's an issue, going to your sister when there's an issue, in the way that the word lays out how to resolve a conflict. That's a huge one. because people have been conditioned to handle conflict a certain way. And then the Bible shows you the perfect way of how to resolve conflict. And people wrestle with that. You see what I'm saying? You could go on and on. There's a ton of situations where I can show you where when the heat's on, when the emotions are high, and you have people who by the world's standards are spiritual, but by biblical standards you can see they're not, because again, when the heat's on, when emotions are high, when the pressure's on, you see they choose to go the non-spiritual way. They are far from spiritual. They are far from righteous, biblical righteousness. You know what I'm saying? Being aware of what the word says in a heated situation, man. When you're emotionally charged, that's the battlefield there. I'm telling you, that's where it's at. That's where you have to focus on. That's where you have to look within yourself, and that's where you need to look in others, those people who are around you. You have to, and this is why it tells you to meditate on this word day and night, because if you're meditating on the word day and night, when something's out of place, when something ain't right, when something don't line up with that word, when it's time to get spiritual, you'll get spiritual. This is why you meditate on that word day and night, so you get that prick in your spirit and know, hey, I need to make sure I'm doing this correct. I'm in alignment with this word. So you got to make sure you're in alignment with what the word says. Make sure those around you, situations are in alignment. Because like I said, when those emotions are on, if you haven't been meditating on this word, those emotions overtake you, and it literally wipes everything out of your mind. And only thing you can think on is whatever the strong thought, feeling, emotion is. That's the only thing you can see. But if you're meditating on this word, you, even in the midst of strong thoughts, feelings, emotions, something causing you to come out of being spiritual, it's going to be there. You're going to have something. So that's why it's just so key, so critical to meditate on that word day and night. So, but somebody asked, why do I stutter so much when I talk? Because there were distractions. There's a lot of noise in the background. Somebody came in the room, so it's a distraction. So it happens sometimes. But what you need to do, focus in on what's being said, not how it's being said. Lock in. Hear what I'm really saying. You got to meditate on this word. You got to get focused on the word so that when the emotional storms and attacks come, you don't get swept away in it. You got to stay locked in. I didn't stutter when I said that. That's clear, straight, and direct. And it's critical because Satan, it says, as a roaring lion, he seeks who he may devour. And the way he attacks is through your mind, through your thoughts, feelings, and emotions. He tries to do things to get you off track. So stay focused. Make the main thing the main thing. Don't get caught up in how everybody's saying stuff, or you're doing this, or why you got that going on in the background. Focus, lock in. If you want to pay attention to something, pay attention to the thoughts that are popping up in your mind and scrutinize them. Good case in point. What's compelling you to get so caught up in me stuttering and not focus on what I'm really saying that's so critical? It's a distraction. More than likely, that was a deception of Satan trying to get things off track. You got to scrutinize everything that is coming up, that pops up in your mind. It says casting down thoughts and imaginations that exalt themselves against the knowledge of Yah. There's no stuttering going on there. That's straightforward. That's where the battle's at. But that's what I'm saying. Everybody wants to be spiritual until it's time to be spiritual. And this I'm laying out what being spiritual is. Scrutinizing your thoughts, feelings, and emotions, bringing them under intense scrutiny, paying attention to them and comparing them. Does this line up with the word? Where am I going? Being aware. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the battle. Like, this is the spiritual warfare. And the thing is, it's so subtle. It's so subtle. It can't be that. It got to be something else. It got to be, I just yell and jump around till I feel good and this, that. That's a piece of it. That's a part of it. But I'm telling you, where the battle's at, where the front lines is at of this warfare, is when you're in the heat of the moment and these thoughts, feelings, and emotions are popping up, and a lot of people just give over to them. They're just giving over to them. They just go along with whatever the thought, feeling, or emotion is. They just kind of go along with that. And the next thing you know, you're a statistic. You're typical. You're just another typical situation that you see happening of chaos, division, whatever the fruit of unrighteousness might bring. So what they somebody came in here and actually spent the time. They said it sounds like I'm making stuff up. And if I'm online and it sounds like somebody's making stuff up and there's like thousands of other channels to go to, I wouldn't even waste time typing. I just go to another channel. But again, everybody wants to be spiritual till it's time to be spiritual. Anyway, y'all, with that said, I appreciate y'all tuning in. Like I said, I'm going to be coming on here more often. I'm going to be doing quick 15-minute, 20-minute videos. I'm not going to be on, I don't have time to do hour and 2 hour videos like I have in the past. We're really working hard with a lot of things we have going on community wise, and a lot of things we have going on business wise. So community business wise, you can say it like that. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing. We not just sitting on here talking about this, we putting this work in. And so we're going to continue to do that. And with that, I appreciate all y'all tuning in. And remember, everybody wants to be spiritual till it's time to be spiritual. I'm Michael Israel. Shalom, shalom.